Time attack, what is it? Well, there's no better place to find out than right here at Sydney Motorsport Park during World Time Attack Challenge. My name's Richard and this is Haltech's guide to time attacking. Time attack is a form of motorsport that started in Japan, particularly at the Tsukuba circuit, which is the OG circuit for time attack racing. Essentially, time attack is a bit like qualifying that we used to in circuit racing. So unlike side-by-side circuit racing, time attack is a race against the clock. So you can compare it to time trials, rallying, hill climbs, that sort of thing. All competitors are on the same track, they're competing against each other to get the best time. However, unlike the other Japanese motorsport drifting, there are no judges. It's simply the fastest lap on the day wins. Hence the World Time Attack tagline, one perfect lap. While the idea is to get the fastest lap possible, there are rules. Now, in different countries, the rules vary, but here in Australia, all time attack cars comply with the World Time Attack rules, irrespective of which state the competition's being held in. And those rules are that your car must comply with a class. We have 4 classes here in Australia, starting at Club Sprint, then on to Open Class, then we have Pro and Pro-Am. No matter which class you're racing in, engine management and ECUs are unrestricted. That means that engine tuners and racers have unlimited strategies at their fingertips, and that's also why we at Haltech find this form of motorsport so interesting. Club Sprint is your entry-level time attack class. The cars are fairly restricted in what modifications they can do, and the driver must be the owner. The Club Sprint cars are allowed only minor body and aero mods, but engine modifications are unrestricted. The engine, however, must be the same brand and have the same number of cylinders or rotors as originally available from factory. Sequential transmissions are not allowed, and all cars must be driven by a non-professional driver. The minimum weight for a Club Sprint car is 1,425 kilograms, or its factory weight minus 5%. So Artie, I believe you're a time attack virgin.
Yes, that's true, yeah.
So first time on track, first time driving on track here, is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I've liked time attack for many years. I've been following the actual competition for many years, and I've come as a spectator, and I've always wanted to get in, and now I've kind of had the opportunity with this car, and you know, I've finally got it all together and I made it.
So you started off as a spectator, loving time attack,
yes.
And you've gone, I need to do it.
Yeah.
And you've got the Series 1 RX-7?
Series 1 RX-7,
okay.
Yeah. It is pretty stock. I've basically got a set of coilovers. I've got brakes and things like that from a later series, from an FD. Basically it's a budget build, you could call it. But it's kind of just a way of me getting into the sport and then kind of building on it from there.
And so you come into the Club Sprint class because it's the most street-friendly class, I suppose?
That's correct, yeah. It's kind of the most attainable for me, and you know, I'll come out and then see where the car fits into it and then build on it, hopefully next year.
And so the goal is to keep going in Club Sprint and then progress to Open maybe? And...
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
I actually like the format of Club Sprint. I like being closer to the sort of street cars. The open class cars are great, but you know, I think people when they see it relate to the Club Sprint cars a bit better because it's close to what they got on the road. Yeah. And us having a mechanic shop, you know, we want our customers to see our cars on the track and, you know, get a few ideas for their own.
Awesome. Well, mate, best of luck for the weekend.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Catch up with you later. Within each class, there are different types of race cars. We talked to Artie with his Series 1 RX-7, now we found Dave with his R32 GTR. So mate, Club Sprint, they say, is sort of like the street spec.
Yeah.
This doesn't look like a street car to me.
Definitely not.
So, would you say this has gone to the extent that you can go in Club Sprint?
Yeah, for sure. Following all the rules and the rule book, that's what we're allowed to do. That's probably it. So yeah.
So what sort of power are you making out of the RV?
450 kilowatts of wheels,
which is similar to some of the open class cars.
Yeah.
And aero wise,
we're capped at.
Yeah.
So you're only allowed to do a certain few things as far as splitters go, and
a little bit of width change.
Yeah, a little bit of width change. That's fine. But you're limited. So.
And why time attack for yourself?
It started 5 years ago. Group of guys at Zen Garage were just sitting around, and basically one thing led to another.
Thought it'd look like fun.
Thought it'd look like fun. We had a stock R32 GTR, and 5 years later, this is where we're at.
Far from stock.
Far from stock, yeah.
Far from stock.
Yeah.
And why Club Sprint, and why not take that step onto open class?
Going from Club Sprint to the next class, there's a big jump. At the moment we're at the top of Club Sprint as far as the class goes. If we were to take that extra jump, we'd be just starting all over again, I'd say. And Club Sprint's basically, you can fund it.
Yep.
You need a lot more money for the next class up.
Open class is where things start to get a bit more serious. We start to see a lot of workshops enter this class because the rules are freer, you can do more modifications to the car, and pro drivers are allowed. Open class cars enjoy unlimited engine mods and fewer aero restrictions, with carbon fibre body panels and Lexan side and rear windows allowed. Sequential transmissions and professional drivers are also allowed in this class, and the minimum weight for an open class car is 1,257 kilograms, or its factory weight minus 15%. So Anthony, we're here with your open class RX-8. Tell me, what got you into time attack racing?
Well, basically I looked at a lot of street sprint stuff and tried to do a little bit of that with an FD RX-7 I had, and that was pretty exciting. So I followed the time attack for a number of years, and open class is where I've seen myself I wanted to be to be sort of at a competitive level, and that's where I've ended up. And the car started out, we we're going to go street sprints, but it evolved into an open class car.
What makes it open class as opposed to, say, the club sprint class?
Okay, so in the club sprint class, you've got smaller tyres, less aero, more interior in the car. So with the rules, open class allows you to be a little bit less, say, creature comforts in the car, wider tyres, hence better track time.
So the club sprint's a bit closer to a street car.
Exactly.
And here we go into a proper race car.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And what sort of power do we see in open class?
Well, most of these cars have got anywhere from 600-700 horsepower to 1,200 horsepower these days, and unfortunately we're Nasbury aspirated, so we're only pushing around 450 on the tyres. And a lot of these guys have got 1,000 horsepower in these GDRs, and we're all in together. So, but at the end of the day, that makes it really exciting. We're concentrating more on our aero package from top stage, and about the tuning of the car, and the Rotary is just exciting to drive. And being naturally aspirated is where I was when I was a lot younger.
Yep.
So I sort of followed that path.
And nothing sounds like a naturally aspirated peripheral Core 20B.
Yeah,
It's wild.
Yeah, when my gear changing down the main straight at about 9,200 RPM, it's quite exciting, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the car. Obviously it's an RX-8, it's got a rotary in it. Is there anything else, trick?
Yeah, okay, so this car started out, I actually drove this car for a little while on the street with its standard 13B. I always liked the RX-8 because it handles well, it's really well balanced front to rear. I picked up the 20B from Extreme Rotaries from Rowan, got talking to him, we spec'd the engine and built the engine. Then I started looking for management systems, I'd done a lot of research on that, ended up with the Haltech 2500 Elite, which has been brilliant with you guys, with your support. And then we've moved into, from Rowan's advice, we moved into the Modena 6-speed gearbox sequential.
Okay, sequential box?
Yeah, sequential box. And we just managed to get the shift cut working here this weekend with some experimental software from you guys, and that's really worked a treat.
Awesome. I found a World Time Attack legend under Suzuki. レジェンド、本当にレジェンド。本当。じゃあ、鈴木さん、タイムアタック好きでしょ？
もう大好きですね。
大好き。なんで大好き？
生まれた時から好き。
あなたの生活はタイムアタックでしょ？
Yes. 小さい頃、ラジオコントロールカー、プラモデル。I like.
When he was a child,
Real car.
when he was a child, he loved model cars. When he was about 10 years old, and as soon as he got his license, all he wanted to do was drive.
Real scale.
Real scared, really big scared.
Yeah, big scale. Yeah.
World Time Attack Challenge means international drivers, and Cole here from Life Motorsports is over from the USA. Mate, how did you get into Time Attack? What's your story?
Ultimately, I just wanted to be the fastest. You know, I started tuning street cars, and a lot of the Japanese stuff was starting to emerge and be really big. And I saw these Japanese cars smash these big, powerful muscle cars in the States, and so I took notice of that, and I didn't really find a niche in the drag racing. It wasn't where I wanted to be. So naturally, I went to the road course stuff, and naturally, I wanted to be the fastest. So here we are at Time Attack.
So you thought I like corners.
Yeah.
I want to go fast around the corners. And then you get to Pro and Pro-Am. These are the serious Time Attack cars. These are the big wings, all the aero, 1,000 horsepower plus engines. The only real difference between Pro and Pro-Am is that Pro have pro drivers and Am have amateur owner drivers. There are no restrictions on engine modifications or on composite and carbon panels. And while there are some restrictions on the aero, everything within those parameters is allowed. Sequential transmissions as well as paddle shifts are allowed, and these classes also enjoy the benefit of nitrous oxide. While Pro-Am is restricted to amateur drivers only, the Pro class is open to professionals and attracts star drivers from all types of motorsport. The minimum weight of a Pro or Pro-Am car is 1,200 kilograms, or the factory weight minus 20%. So one of the unique things about Pro class cars is also Pro drivers, and there's no one more Pro than Warren Luff. Mate, recent success at Bathurst, congratulations.
Yeah, look, Bathurst was great. It was it was really good to get a result again. Second year in a row we've been second on the podium, so still looking for that elusive top step, but look, great result for the team.
Obviously there are some differences between this Time Attack car and a V8 supercar.
Yeah, look, when you look at overall lap time, you're talking probably about 8 seconds in terms of lap difference around here at Sydney Motorsport Park.
With the Time Attack car being faster?
Yeah, with the Time Attack car being much faster. When you look at it via numbers, Time Attack car's probably got about 400 more horsepower and about 400 less kilos. So the power to weight ratio is really, really staggering. So the grip that it generates, but these cars are built to do one lap at a time. So it's all about trying to get that one perfect lap. So yeah, they're really exciting to drive. Definitely get your attention.
Spoiler alert, World Time Attack brings people from all around the world. One such guy is Will. You've come from Canada. Mate, what sort of sickness makes a person put a race car on a boat and ship it all the way to Australia for one event?
Well, we just look around at the crowd and you realize how special event World Time Attack Challenge is. And our experience from last year was such an incredible experience, and we just need to be back on the grid. The race cars here are incredible. Everybody's pushing boundaries. Everybody's pushing themselves. Just the competitiveness is amazing. Yet at the same time, the friendliness of all the teams is absolutely top notch. And I have nothing but praise for what's World Time Attack.
Awesome. So you're in Pro-Am. Of course, this is a front-wheel drive car.
Yes, sir.
You're chasing the front-wheel drive record?
Well, definitely, records are definitely what our target as far as Time Attack is concerned. We've done very well in America this year. We actually set 5 overall records in America this year, which is kind of incredible, and regardless of drivetrain. And coming to World Time Attack, obviously, there is no drivetrain classes, so we knew who we were up against. We were up against the Tilton Evo and obviously other rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive cars, but we also have a really good package, and we really believe in the performance of our package. So it's been definitely one of those situations where we look forward to competing against all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive cars.
No matter what class you're in, there are several key factors that determine whether you're at the top of the class or at the bottom. The power, the weight, the suspension, brakes and handling, as well as the effectiveness of your aero setup all play a vital role, as does a little bit of luck on the day. Andrew, obviously we see in Pro Class the big wings, the huge splitters, the canards and everything, so aero is definitely a factor with that class. Looking at the other end of the spectrum, Club Sprint class, where the modifications aren't as extensive and the rulebook is a lot tighter, what sort of effect does aero have on say, someone coming into Time Attack?
Yeah, you might really be surprised about how much of an effect it can have. In reality, people think that Club Sprint, they think of it as a restricted aero class, but there's a lot of GT classes that actually have similar rules boxes for how big the aero can be, where aero has a major factor in the performance of the cars. So I think it's more a matter of that nobody's really taken advantage of the regulations as much as that aero can't be in effect. Of course, it's much less of an effect than it is in the Pro class, where we've seen times to 10 seconds in 9 years, only getting a little bit lighter and getting a bit more power. But it'll never be that much. But it's definitely something that I think could impact the class in a meaningful way, like multiple seconds, I think, if people ever really sat down and did it.
You've been very successful at home with your own Life Motorsport R35, and this weekend you're over guest driving Freddie Carbon's top stage composite S14, what's he call it?
SR69 Blackbird.
69 Blackbird.
Yeah.
So how does this differ from the R35?
The big thing is the weight, for sure. That's the biggest difference. So we were probably the heaviest Pro class car of all time, and I'm in one of the lightest open class cars now. So my personal driving style, I much prefer the lightweight cars. I don't know how I got tied up driving an R35, but I'd say that's the biggest difference between them. And just the big power we have in the R35, over 1,000 wheel. We're like probably 450 wheel, so totally different, but much more up my alley, and I really enjoy this car.
Another Time Attack legend, Tarzan Yamada. Yamada-san, Time Attack かドリフト、どっちが好き？
いや、やっぱりI like number one, Time Attack.
Time Attack?
Yes.
なんでですか？
やっぱりスピード、やっぱりマックススピードとか、その辺がやっぱり速い。
本当に速いです。
本当に速い。
You've done a lot of motorsport. You've done Pikes Peak. You won the speed ring, fastest at Button Willow. Take us for a lap around Sydney Motorsport Park. For people who haven't done it before, what's it like?
Well, for a Time Attack track, I think it's brilliant. You've got turn 1, which is one of the fastest corners of any road course I've ever been to. And it's got some slow technical stuff. You got a good bit of elevation, and it's quite the facility. So I think it's a really good fit for Time Attack because it's so challenging for both high speed and low speed corners.
あなたの好きなサーキットはスクーバー、シディモータースポーツパーク。どっちが好き？シディモータースポーツパーク。一番ですか？
一番 number one.
Number one, Sydney Motorsport Park. So with all your experience in Time Attack, you've got to know what key thing wins a Time Attack race?
Aero aero and big power.
Yeah?
Yeah, in that order. You know, it's this is one of the lower power cars out here, but it's got a great aero package on it. And so, you know, we're flirting with the big dogs. And that's kind of just been the way it's been going with the aero wars, you know, when it was single element rear wings into what it's turned into today. So that's the biggest change and one of the most important pieces. But ultimately to win at time attack, especially world time attack, is the stars have to align. The driver's got to be on point, the power's got to be there, and you gotta have all the aero. Everything has to be sorted. So, you know, it's just that one perfect lap is all you need, and there's a whole hell of a lot that needs to line up for that to happen.
This is one of the fastest cars ever to do a lap around Sydney Motorsport Park here. What does that feel like?
Look, it's exhilarating. You're doing sort of nearly 290 kilometres an hour down the front straight, and it's just a mild lift for sort of turn one. Kind of take a deep breath and just tip the thing in. Look, the amount of aero grip this thing produces is amazing, and so its lap time is gained through the corners and how much grip it can actually sort of carry, and then you've got all that horsepower on the exit. So certainly out of the tighter corners, trying to get that horsepower down to the ground through an R compound tyre, whilst a very soft and very grippy one, it is quite challenging. So it's trying to sort of balance that, getting the power down out of the corners, carrying enough sort of speed through. You get to the end of the lap and it's kind of almost like you've held your breath for sort of a minute and 20 seconds. So it's exhilarating, it's fun, it's fast, and that's what makes time attack so unique.
So we all know there's like this battle between downforce and drag, and on a circuit like this where you want to go fast down the front straight, but you also want it to stick in the corner, how do you find that balance?
Yeah, I mean, so look, I mean, there's obviously it's a big question, right? And it really depends on so many details about the car. And if you look back in history, you might remember like Nemo, this car that we designed quite some years ago, and everyone was sort of asking that question in a very open-ended way, and there wasn't a mathematical equation to answer the question. So everyone was always going, that's probably too much drag. And this was even in a time when cars had a lot of power. And we sort of answered back with that, and we had a car with 500 horsepower, or 450 horsepower, and we won the thing by almost 2 seconds a lap. And then everyone went, oh wow, okay, maybe we didn't know the answer to that question. And so from the beginning, it's been our belief that the way to answer that is mathematically. And so you do simulations to a specific car, to a specific track, or multiple tracks, and you look at what you lose on drag and what you gain on downforce, and you try to make sure you're always on the right side of those equations. So you have to plug in things like what your gear ratios are and how much power you've got, and you know what kind of drag the base platform started with, you know, and then you look at your aero, and then you really pretty much will design for a really high amount of downforce most of the time. And then if the car is something that's really power sensitive, you know, like if it's a normally aspirated car that will only ever have 200 horsepower, in that situation, we'll give them a really good tool to adjust it. So if they go to a smaller track where it's really tight, use this setting and that setting, you know, rear wing and maybe some different things on the front diffuser to let them really choose that, and they can tune it with driver feedback, but we make sure that based on simulation we're in the right place. So it's a little bit harder with proper circuit cars because you have to worry about getting passed, and that's where you really want to give them the adjustability, because sometimes you're doing an endurance race where it's all about the pits, the passing happening in the pits. You know, pit strategy is what matters, and there's not a lot of passing going on the track, and those cars will go, no, I want the lap time, or I want it to be easy to drive. And so there's a lot of things that plug into that equation when we work it out, but we try to be really religious about how we figure it out.
You drove Nemo back in the day, which was of course the first big aero car. How do you think things have changed over the last couple of years since then? Yeah,
look, obviously, Nemo really sort of set the benchmark for what a modern time attack car should ultimately be doing out there. But yeah, look, the cars keep advancing every year. They keep going faster and faster. So look, Nemo was good, but this car's great.
Well, Warren, best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Jordan.
Yes.
World Time Attack.
Yes.
What are you doing here?
We're here to promote We Are Likewise and sell all the shift knobs in the world.
Okay, so We Are Likewise, mostly what you do is dress up sort of stuff, shift knobs?
Yep, customization to your interior. Lots of different colours, lots of different shift knobs, stickers, adapters, we've got everything.
And you've got a car behind you?
Yes.
What's going on there? Got a 2J?
It's a FT86. The FA20 wasn't cutting it, so yeah, we swapped in a big 2J. 2 turbos because 2 is better than 1. And of course, got a Haltech ECU.
So obviously there's 2 main parts to World Time Attack Challenge.
Yep.
There's obviously the time attack, but they also have the drift.
Yep.
What are you into?
We love hearing the time attack, but because we're so busy here through the day, finishing the day on the drifting is incredible. Sunset going, yeah, it's great.
It's a cool event.
Absolutely, the best event of the year by far.
Trader Alley at World Time Attack Challenge is a weird and wonderful place. There's so much to see. One thing that's caught our eye is this crazy looking R35 on the Perusic engineering stand. What's going on here? What is it?
Well, as you said, it's an R35, but there's not much of the original car left anymore. It's been converted to rear-wheel drive, but obviously a lot of improvements have been done to it, rear-end, front-end drivetrain. And obviously we put out pedals, redid all the plumbing for that. A few custom bits for Brian to get him comfy and so he can drive this thing well.
So what's it for? Is it a time attack car or is it?
That is the plan.
It is, yeah?
I'm hoping that he might have a bit of fun doing some circuit stuff as well to get some hours under his belt.
Since its very first event back in 2010, the World Time Attack lap record has been broken every single year. This year, the RP968 Porsche continued this tradition by sliding into the sub-120 zone for the first time ever, with a mind-blowing lap of 1 minute 19.82 seconds. So you've talked about like simulation and being able to work things out mathematically and that sort of stuff. So today we've seen a time of 1:19 around here, which is amazingly fast. Every year it seems like they're getting 2 or 3 seconds faster every year. Do you think we're close to a limit now, or do you think we're going to see times go faster again?
I think that we've reached a point where the difficulty of achieving engine reliability against the drag is reaching a plateau. And I also think it's getting more difficult to make the downforce. And since about 2 years ago, we've shifted our focus towards reducing drag and keeping the downforce the same. We're also trying to hold it at this sort of tire burst threshold kind of downforce. I think like on the HKS car, Yokohama Tire actually asked us to reduce the downforce because they were concerned about it. But so I think you'll see that level off a bit, and I think it'll move towards drag. I mean, you saw like the RP968. They built a billet engine top to bottom. The bottom, the head, and the block were all billet. So, and I think that was sort of indicative of what you're up against with drag. And they went so much faster with very few other changes to the car because of where they were in that drag envelope, that they built, a really high downforce machine, and their power wasn't where they had wanted it to be, I guess.
So they needed to up the power to get past that drag. Yeah.
And interestingly enough, like to really answer your question, using them as an example. So the year before, so last year, they added a big aero upgrade, right? They had a bigger front wing and then a bigger rear wing, and their drag went way up because their old videos were like a 270 something top speed, and they went from that down to 250 something. And some people might have said, and a lot of customers say to us, we're down 20 kilometers an hour with this aero. Well, so were they, but they also went significantly faster than they'd gone the year before. But when they had the power to do it, plus that downforce, then it went even faster. And so that's why you really have to be mathematical about it. And I think they do it in a similar way to what we do, where you use simulations and tools.
Well, that's Haltech's guide to time attacking. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Hey, let me know in the comments below what you would build as your ultimate time attack car. As always, my name's Richard, and I'll see you next time.